Yeah, the three lines right back has been on fire. It's probably fair to say for Liverpool since Gareth Southgate named his England squad on March the 18th, and he was snubbed for that last squad, but has started to re-find his feet at Liverpool, and he's been helped out with, or I should say he's helped Klopp's side reach third spot in the Premier League, which a few weeks ago didn't even look like that was a possibility. So, Darren, your thoughts then on Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, before that last England squad announcement, he'd just 1 goal and 4 assists to his name. Since that announcement, 1 goal, 5 assists. So a slight increase with assists that we've seen from Trent Alexander-Arnold. He seems to be the biggest name up for debate and whether or not he makes the 26.
When I was writing mine down, he was in it.
Yeah.
For me, Trent, I mean, I know you said there obviously 1 more assist, but I think his overall play has been better in terms of the balls he's been putting in the box, his general play. And listen, there's always been question marks about him defensively, which are still going to be there. But if you think about it, there were question marks about Kyle Walker's defending for long spells. He's obviously got that out of his game, and he's, for me, the number 1 right back in this country, Kyle Walker. But Trent, for me, has got to go. I mean, as I think it was Cass was saying there, like if you're dominating a game and you need someone to unlock a door, Trent's perfect for that.
Yeah.
The way he set plays, the way he puts the ball in the box, the way he drives forward, his range of passing, and he can score a goal. For me, I'd definitely have Trent in my squad, 100%. He'd be one of the 3 because I chose 3 right backs as well.
I was going to say, because you know with Kyle Walker's versatility that he can play in a back 3 if needs be. So you wouldn't possibly want another right back in there as well. So who would be the other right back you've gone for?
So I've gone Kyle Walker, Trent and Reece James. Mm-hmm. Now, Reece James has been brilliant. I think he's a better defender than Trent. He's powerful, he's strong. Kyle Walker, for me, is playing for one of the best teams in the world football in that position. So how can he not play? Because some people have spoke about in terms of Kyle Walker, well, I wouldn't play him. Well, you've got to play him because of how good he's been this season. But yeah, Reece James, Trent and Kyle Walker were the 3. Kieran Trippier, I know he just obviously won La Liga with Atletico, but I think more Trippier's been brilliant for England. He's never really let England down. I think these 3 for me would be the 3 right backs. Certainly I would choose.
Ali,
wow.
It begs the question of the player that you've spoken about that no one wants to mention, really.
And that's Wan-Bissaka. Benty, I think he's getting a raw deal in terms of he's not even getting a mention, mate. No, I understand that, that in that department it's actually incredible. The talent that England have in that right side of defence, really. But I just think Wan-Bissaka is worth a mention. Because I think defensively, the further on you go in the tournament, if you're playing against a France, as I said earlier, if you're playing against an Mbappe, I mean, clearly Kyle Walker's pace would be fantastic against him, but I think Wan-Bissaka's defensive qualities might be the best man for that job. But I take your point totally, mate. I think Kyle Walker has been absolutely outstanding this year. I really do. I think Trent, although the statistics there haven't improved dramatically, I think his game has. I think he went through a little period there during the season where he wasn't playing well, as were the rest of the Liverpool side, to be honest with you. I think Robertson on the other side, who I'm a massive fan of, wasn't firing, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the season they all get going again, which was brilliant for Liverpool. But I just think, as I said earlier, I said to Natalie, I feel a wee bit sorry for Wan-Bissaka, the fact that he's not even getting a mention really in dispatches.
Do you know what? The only reason I didn't really mention him, Ali, is because Gareth's not picked him before.
Yeah, I know.
I just think to myself, will Gareth then going into a major tournament take someone who's uncapped and unknown? Now, listen, defensively, I'm with you, Ali. I think he's the best defender that we've got in terms of fullbacks. 1-to-1 defending, never shirks the challenge, stays on his feet, very hard to get past. I've seen very few get past him, but that was my only concern, was that the international experience in terms of, will Gareth all of a sudden go, well, you know what, I've not picked Wan-Bissaka, because he's literally played at the same level, you'd have to say, probably all season, Wan-Bissaka. I wouldn't say that he's ended the season fantastically well. I think he's been quite steady all season. So then will Gareth Southgate all of a sudden go, you know what, I've not picked him all season, but going into a major tournament, I'm going to throw Wan-Bissaka in there and leave out a Trent or a Reece James or Trippier. I just can't see it.
So that probably then for you would mean that someone like a Patrick Bamford is not going to feature in this 32-26 man squad. I
feel like the biggest hypocrite when it comes when it comes to Patrick Bamford, because that was me in 2006. That was me. I was in the exact same position. Okay. I came out of the Championship. I think the only 2 people that beat me in terms of goals was Thierry and Van Nistelrooy, and I didn't go to.
Who are they?
All right, and I was thinking, well, how can I not go? And I didn't pick him. But then I'm here with my squad, and Bamford's not in my squad either.
I know.
So it's a bit like, well, if you're picking players on form, the way the season that he's had, in terms of where he's come from as well, and people criticising him in the Championship, saying he wasn't good enough. If Leeds didn't go up, it'd be his fault. He gets to the Premier League, and I remember, I think it was even David O'Leary, I think, came out at the start of the season and said, if Leeds want to compete in the Premier League, they need to go out and get a recognised centre forward who's better than Patrick Bamford. He's been absolutely sensational this season. So for me, sitting here and saying that he shouldn't be in there is poor on my part.
But then you're basing it because he's not been called up before. A bit like the Aaron Wan-Bissaka situation.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's tough, but I mean, for Gareth, it's probably the hardest job in the world because on form, centre forwards, you'd have to say Harry Kane's the only one who's been, in terms of English, has been better than him all season.
And this is it. We were talking about it earlier on. Dominic Calvert-Lewin obviously got off to a great start this season, and you feel that he'll still be the understudy to Harry Kane, but he's not exactly ended the season as well as we'd want him to have ended. And Ollie Watkins did get the nod in that previous England squad.
And he scored as well, so that might carry some weight as well.
Yes, exactly. And just having him around that squad, Gareth Southgate will have got to know Ollie Watkins obviously more than he'd know Patrick Bamford.
Do you know who would have had a chance as well if he could have stayed fit? Callum Wilson.
100%.
He was finishing off the season on fire.
100%.
And he scored for his country as well.
So we're also forgetting Danny Ings.
Danny Ings as well.
Another player that, again, had injury and everything else not played its part. Would still very much be in the reckoning.
What's the situation with Callum Wilson? Is he ruled out because of injury for the Euros? Because I thought him and St Maximin to get back in the side were obviously a big factor in the resurgence of Newcastle. Obviously Almiron playing and Willock's goals were unbelievable. But the game that I really impressed me was when Newcastle. I was down at Newcastle at home to Liverpool, Benty and Wilson. The game finished 0-0 each, I think. Liverpool had chances to win it, but I thought Wilson was absolutely superb. His movement, his off the ball running, everything about him, and I was really, really impressed. And then that's why I thought to myself, if he can get himself fit, get back in Bruce's squad, I think they'll be okay. And I think you're right. The injury towards the end of the season has really, if it's I don't know if it's put paid to his chances of the England call-up, but clearly it's not done it any good.
It's a hamstring injury. So,
and you can't just come back from a hamstring injury like that because they're the injuries that are so temperamental, them hamstring injuries. And you're right, Ali, we kept saying it. If Newcastle can get, even when they were, I think maybe a point above Newcastle, we kept saying if Wilson can come back and St Maximum, they'll be okay. And Callum Wilson came back and he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So it's a shame for him with a hamstring injury. So I can't see, I mean, I know Gareth's picking a bigger squad, but I'm guessing that's for the likes of the Hendersons and the Maguires that have got a chance. I'm not quite sure Callum will do with a hamstring. It depends how bad the hamstring is.
Oh dear. See, this is the thing. We're talking about it. We've been talking about it all morning. We still can't be all definitive with our 26. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh no, I named a 26, but I don't know if I should be putting that player back in now. And so no doubt Gareth Southgate it's equally hard, much harder for him.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.